I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're taking a deep dive into Phillip Church's thrilling tale. It is called The Hong Kong Gambit, a plot to buy Thailand. It is a fictional narrative intertwined with the harsh realities of international human trafficking and its effects on global economies. We are delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank our team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today. And we ask viewers like you to support writers like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing Phillip's book. Phillip, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Well, thank you for the invitation and for the introduction, Logan.
Oh, my pleasure. It's a delight to speak with you. Let's tell the folks at home a little bit about your book. What type of novel is it?
Sure, Logan. At its core, the Hong Kong Gambit is an international crime thriller. The novel takes the reader to Thailand, along with three American friends, for what the Americans expected to be an uneventful golf and fishing vacation. The Thailand trip, however, was to celebrate their recent retirements from government careers as Navy pilot and CIA analyst and embassy commercial attaché. En route to Thailand, however, over the South China Sea, the three Americans are caught up and forced to thwart an attempted hijacking of their airplane. That leads to their entanglement with the Chinese crime syndicate overlords battling to control Asia's human trafficking industry. A note here, Logan, the Chinese crime syndicates are not a fiction. They function in Asia even today. The Hong Kong Gambit also falls in the category of historic fiction. The novel draws on two historical events that occurred about 25 years ago. First, Britain turned over administration of Hong Kong to mainland China on June 30th, 1997. Then, just a few days later, the value of the Thai currency collapsed, precipitating a regional economic recession that impacted Asian countries from Thailand, Malaysia, and Indonesia in the south to Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan in the north. These two rather arcane geopolitical developments, I'll grant you, but it's worthy of asking the question, was there any connection between these two events, given how closely they were related in time? Or were they strictly a coincidence, as the international press concluded in its reporting? Well, the Hong Kong Gambit draws a fictional line connecting these two events. And that fictional line is the efforts of the Hong Kong Chinese syndicates to relocate their human trafficking operations to escape the control of the new Hong Kong Chinese administrators. For the crime syndicates, the question was where to relocate. Their answer, open and welcoming Thailand. The Chinese syndicates put in play a ruthless plot to take control of key Chinese Thai industries in order to launder their profits through their illicit operations. But the syndicates didn't reckon with interference from the three Americans. Spoiler alert here, Logan. The Hong Kong Gambit has a happy ending, but an ending that's at the end of a treacherous road with plenty of bloodshed along the way.
Absolutely. It is quite an epic tale that you have told here. Now, you have a background in international finance and development. Did you use that experience in writing the Hong Kong Gambit?
Oh, yes, Logan, absolutely. I lived and worked in Thailand and other countries in Asia and Africa and Latin America as a foreign service officer. My career exposed me to a range of challenges that confront developing countries, or emerging market economies, as they are often called. Our U.S. efforts overseas included helping developing countries benefit from what we call globalization, that is, increasing their participation in international trade and investment. Good. Engaging engaging more in the global economy, we theorized, would lead to improved livelihoods for everyone. Well, in practice, we learned that doesn't always happen, particularly where there exists international corporate greed, political corruption, and illicit trade. The Hong Kong Gambit casts a spotlight on the darker side of globalization. In Asia, that includes illicit and literally cutthroat trade in what are called the three Gs. That's guns, girls, and ganja. Guns, weapons trade; girls, the sex trade; and ganja is the Asian slang for drugs. In Asia, these illicit markets are largely controlled by the organized crime syndicates. They're the Asian equivalents of the Italian mafias that which we're most familiar. At the time of the Hong Kong Gambit, these Chinese syndicates were amassing huge profits from their illicit operations and laundering much of that money through outwardly legitimate Hong Kong-based banks. Now, here's where things get interesting. For decades, Hong Kong has been viewed as a safe emerging market economy in which to invest. New York investment fund managers encouraged individual American retirement account holders, large pension funds, and university endowments to diversify their investments internationally by including Hong Kong. And Hong Kong financial institutions seem like safe investment opportunities during British administration. But in practice, American fund managers were unwittingly commingling U.S. clients' dollars with profits from human trafficking and other illicit Asian operations, essentially enabling the Chinese syndicates in finding safe and legitimate cover for their profits. I made this darker side of globalization the discovery of the novel's three Americans on what they thought was an uneventful vacation in Thailand. But it's the force that drives the story, Logan.
Absolutely. Now, a lot of us understand that the Asian society can be very closed, difficult to penetrate for the outsiders. How did you go about gathering the information to write this book? Did you speak and read Thai, Chinese? Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, that was a challenge. I speak only a few Thai phrases now, a little bit more when I was working in Thailand, and I don't speak any Chinese. You're right, though, that Asian societies are closed and not very open to strangers, particularly as Farangs, as foreigners are called in Thailand. To write the Hong Kong Gambit, I had to find a way through that Asian reserve. That was an adventure of itself, but I found three ways to get the information I needed. First, I had the advantage of a Thai translator. While I was living and working in Thailand, I met Rampung, a Thai colleague at the U.S. Embassy in Bangkok. When I traveled outside Bangkok to rural Thailand, she went along and translated for me. I dedicated the Hong Kong Gambit to Rampung because she was indispensable in communicating with local Thais. She was also very helpful in my ability to gain an understanding of the challenges faced by small rural Thai communities, like the fictional farming and fishing village of Ban Kao in the novel, which were struggling to survive in a changing and interconnected world. Second, I had access to the print archives of the English language daily newspaper, the Bangkok Post. The Post covers national and regional news for Thailand's American, Australian, Canadian, and British expatriate community. I spent days in Bangkok Post's offices gathering information for my novel from stories and from criminal stories and political and business news in Thailand and Asia. Finally, I tapped my former university's alumni rolls for the names of contact information of Thai students who graduated and returned home to take up careers in Thailand's banking, business, and government and academic circles. Then when I visited Thailand to finish gathering information for the novel, I was able to contact some of those Thai alumni who were open to sharing perspectives on how the Thai economy and society functions. In large measure, I found because of our common university affinity. So I had a range of resources, Logan, to draw on to write a credible fictional narrative for the story. I'll add just one more thing here, Logan. It helps that Thailand's form of government is a constitutional monarchy with a hereditary king and an elected parliament. It's a lone democracy in a rather rough neighborhood with autarkic governments and military regimes, including Laos, Cambodia, and Myanmar on its borders, and Vietnam and China close by. Fortunately, in Thailand, I could travel pretty much anywhere and ask pretty much any questions without being watched or restricted by the authorities. In all, Logan, Hong Kong was a fun writing experience for me.
It sounds like quite an adventure. Like I said before, you have put together an epic tale, and it seems the Hong Kong Gambit would make a terrific movie. It's a unique story. It's a story a lot of people don't know about, or if they know something about it, it's only vaguely. Have you thought about that? And here's a big question. Who would you cast in the leading roles?
Well, actually, I have. You're not the first. A couple of acquaintances who've already read the novel also told me they thought it might make a basis for a movie. I really hadn't given much thought to that when I was writing it, of course, but I'm flattered to think that the Hong Kong Gambit might make it into movie theaters. So recently, over a Singapore, Thai Singapore, and Penang curry at our favorite local Thai restaurant, my wife and I had fun speculating about what we would call the dream movie cast for the novel. As Dan, the Navy pilot who lived at much of his life at 35,000 feet, we picked Hugh Jackman. Given Jackman's diverse roles, from Wolverine to Music Man most recently on Broadway, he's a strong candidate. He's mastered his Australian accent also enough to pass for an American. For Serena, Dan's love interest, who brought him down to earth and made him aware of human trafficking going on around him in Asia. We picked the obvious Oscar winner Michelle Yeoh from Crazy Rich Asians and Everything Everywhere All the Time. Michelle Yeoh has that same strong-willed character as Serena, the Thai social activist who's determined to rescue young girls and boys from the Asian sex trade. As Police Inspector City Chai, another key character, we'd nominate Ke-Huy Quan, also an Oscar winner for his low-key, bespectacled supporting role in Everything Everywhere All the Time. He'd be a perfect fit for the understated and driven and determined Thai Inspector City Chai in the novel. For Ben, the CIA China analyst and computer nerd who loves the thrill of the chase, but is commitment phobic, and Paul, the married homebody with two college-age girls back in the U.S. Well, I guess I'd turn that over to Hollywood Central Casting, along with selection of other Thai characters for Thai actors for other characters in the novel. I would like to see, though, as many Thai characters as possible in the Hong Kong movie, if it's ever made, from the Thai bad guys through the local villagers and students in the story. And please film the movie on location in Thailand. Thailand has been the setting for way too few American motion pictures. Only a couple of outdoor scenes from a couple of James Bond movies come to mind. In the 1950s, the movie King and I is all about Thailand, but was filmed in Hollywood with mostly non-Thai actors, including Yul Brynner as the King of Siam. Time to change that. So, Logan, I'd welcome the opportunity to see the Hong Kong Gambit introduce modern Thailand and its people to both reading and movie-going publics.
Absolutely. And maybe John Emo or a director like that is listening. And now that the book is out there, let's put this on film and let's make this movie, because I think it would be terrific. Final question before we leave you here today, Philip. Who's your intended audience when it comes to readers for the Hong Kong Gambit?
Well, I intended the Hong Kong Gambit for readers who like to be both entertained and enlightened by a riveting story. So adventure, mystery, and thriller book readers will certainly find it likable, with a surprise plot twist and unfolding intrigue of the story, relatable characters, and Thai settings. I also think travel, historical fiction, and social activist readers will be engaged by the relevance of the story to current events and developments around the world. I can share with you two classical novels that inspired me when I was writing the Hong Kong Gambit. One was Charles Dickens' Oliver Twist, which exposed the lives of orphans and street children in 19th century Victorian London. The other is John Steinbeck's Grapes of Wrath, that chronicled the trials and tribulations of the Judd family and hundreds of other Oklahoma dirt farmers displaced by industrial agriculture in the 1930s. And in search of a better life, an elusive better life in California. Both novels provoke calls to action. Both books also were made, by the way, into motion pictures. Dickens and Steinbeck's novels were inspirational to me. I don't pretend to approach those great works of art as coming close in the Hong Kong Gambit. But if folks can relate to either of these two classical novels, I think they would find the Hong Kong Gambit a rewarding read. So, above all, Logan, I would welcome. The Hong Kong Gambit should be a welcome novel to readers who want to enjoy a good story and learn a bit more about how the interconnected world works.
Absolutely. Well, Phillip Church has crafted a novel that will keep you riveted to the book. You'll be turning the pages so fast it'll seem like they are turning themselves. The book is called The Hong Kong Gambit, A Plot to Buy Thailand. It is a work of fiction intertwined with the very real, harsh realities of international human trafficking. It's an important book. It's an entertaining book. It's a book you'll want to purchase and hang on to. Phillip, thank you so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Well, thank you, Logan. It's been a pleasure.
Pleasure is all mine, sir. And to the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time, this time until next time on Spotlight.